Welcome to Tracking the Cats. You got your co-hosts here today, Bob Saban, along with athletic historian extraordinaire for Western Carolina, Steve White. We are here today to talk with, right down the road, we're going to be talking to Coach Chad Miller, the women's soccer coach. But before that, we want to get started and talk a little bit about what was going on last weekend in Western Carolina sports, starting with what could be a better result, which should be a better result. What 0-3.
Yes. 0-3, Bob. And again, and two of those three losses, we've had moments where we looked like really a conference contender, even last week, and especially in the Garden Web in the first half. But then, you've got to play four quarters and you got to play on both sides of the ball. We know all that, and it didn't turn out well. But yeah, some very positive things, and also a continuation of a couple of negative things. So
So the puzzling thing to me is we will have amazing defensive plays. We will hold their ground game. We will catch
right,
them behind the line of scrimmage. We will slap that ball out of the air. And the next play, the receiver's wide open, or they bust through the
yeah,
middle for a 40-yard gain or even a touchdown. It's so that's the frustrating part to me is the inconsistency
yeah.
of
Yeah, it's like, you can see that we've got the talent that can do these things. Interceptions, open field tackles, the diagnosing plays for one series there, then it changes. But yeah, like you say, that is what's so frustrating. You can see enough good to know that this could be a good competitive football team in the Southern Conference.
I went into halftime and I was like, do I really want to continue watching? Because I wasn't there. I was out watching on ESPN Plus. And, it was the game of the week. So you had the crew there, the TV crew there. I would have rather had Daniel, but Pete Yennedy does a great job.
Yeah,
And we just, going into halftime and then kickoff, and we run the kickoff back for a touchdown for the first
yeah.
time in what, since 1920 or 21?
Yeah,
I'm
it's been a
like,
while.
yeah, we're
I
back
can
in this.
remember a couple. I can remember a couple. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Just like you say, it's just a mixed bag out there, and it's enough to keep you interested, but then you get frustrated. So,
but we got, the rest of the season. Now we step into, except for Campbell, the rest of the season is conference. And we got Samford this week. Samford's been struggling as well. So, one,
yeah.
it's at home. Two, you've got a team that's also 0-3. And what's the biggest point here for this Saturday?
Well, and number three, which you didn't get to, is Tyler Dickens.
Yes.
Should is supposedly announced he will be back at quarterback. Nothing against our other quarterbacks, but let's face it, he wasn't named preseason Southern Conference Offensive Player of the Year in some of the All American teams for no reason at all. That's because of what he's done in the past. And you just think about what he did to Sanford last year. He played extremely well against Sanford.
Well, he
Now,
he adds a
now,
dimension of quarterback scramble. He
oh
doesn't
yes,
need the amount of time that the 2 new guys did, and I was
yeah,
I hate to say it, but I think Isaac Lee has done better in those last 2 games than
Judy, yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
was
Like
impressed with his play.
having Tiger back there is like adding another running back to your
Exactly,
offense, and
exactly.
not only an accurate thrower, a guy that has. I watched him in preseason and last spring, and how his progression, how he can. Last year, he would take that first read early in the season, and tuck it and run. Then he got to the point he could maybe make two reads. Now he, in the preseason, you could see he's getting three reads, and then he wasn't panicking or anything like this. So now we've yet to see that during the season, but hopefully we'll see that Saturday. And then talking about Sanford now, you got to remember they are West Georgia. They who is West Georgia? New FCS school and all that stuff. They are very, very good. They've, of course, beat Sanford and beat, which I think the team that was playing the best of all the Southern Conference teams, East Tennessee State. They beat East Tennessee State last week on the road. I mean, at home down in Carrollton. So they lost, I just really think that the competition that Sanford has played, when you especially look at Baylor, I mean, that's a team. Actually, they had their moments against that game. So they're not the Sanford that we've seen in the past, but again, they're not really awful. It's
Right.
not a it's not a gimme, that's for sure. And we've got to play. We know our history with Sanford. Now, we went since 1969 before we won a game in Birmingham, and then we had a streak there at home. We couldn't beat them, but it turned around a little bit
Yeah.
now. But yeah,
2 wins in a row against Sanford. Hopefully, we make it 3 this Saturday, and then Campbell the following week. And that's in Bowie's Creek. But
and if our kids can't get motivated for that game, there's no way. I mean,
yeah,
after what happened last year. And I will be there, Bob. That's my daughter's birthday weekend. And we're going to come down and have her birthday party in the tailgate area at Campbell and then watch the game and so forth. So, man, my wife is a Campbell graduate. Don't tell anybody that, but she is a Campbell.
didn't know
She,
that.
Yes, she is. And she got her graduate degree at Western Carolina, but her master's here, but undergraduate at Campbell.
So
Yeah,
you
at
both graduated,
Buies Creek is the Cullowhee of Eastern North Carolina. That's what everybody says.
and you both graduated from a school named College,
Yeah,
Western
that's
Carolina
right.
College, and it was Campbell College at the time. So,
That's right. Yeah. And the last graduate of Western Carolina College. And you've heard that story that alphabetically, I was the last one in line to get my diploma. Dr. Brown, our chancellor, says she's heard that it wasn't alphabetical, it's because of grade point average.
ranked
Yeah.
highest to lowest. Yeah, there you go. But so yeah, I'm out for a couple of weekends, taking a vacation with my bride, and but we will get back together and have another track in the cats following the Campbell game. And be ready to go that week. Hopefully, we'll have a good guest on in 2 weeks and have more positive news, particularly around football. And the other sports will be actually into their Southern Conference season as well. When you look at volleyball and soccer, and I think cross country has it'll be coming up on the Southern Conference meet for them. So,
Yes. Hmm.
all right, well, let's bring on our lady soccer coach. That's Coach Chad Miller from the women's soccer team. Steve, why don't you bring him in?
That's right. Coach is in his 16th season as our head coach of Western Carolina's women's soccer program. Two-time Southern Conference Coach of the Year, has guided the Catamounts to back-to-back Southern Conference regular season championship, and is 2 days away from sending his team into another 6-week long, 9-matchup Southern Conference regular season, as we say, championship race. And I like that word, championship race. Coach Miller, sort of a mixed bag here in the early going, the non-conference schedule of portion of your schedule. Your team appears to have bounced back from those back-to-back early season losses to App State and Georgia Southern. A good win at NC State, a very good tie on the road with a good Lipscomb team, and then back-to-back wins over on the road at Winthrop and UNC Wilmington. As we say, anytime you win on the road, that's a good win. Your thoughts on the season today, just where your team is at this point?
Yeah, excited for the start of conference for sure. I feel like we've dealt with some adversity along the way. I think we've learned some things about ourselves. I think early on, I think some of the upperclassmen were dealing with a bit of an unknown, which for us has been back-to-back champions in a different area for them. We've always been the kind of the hunter, and now we're the hunted. And I think the pressure of that really affected us early on with some of the upperclassmen. The App State game and the Georgia Southern game, I felt like we played well enough to win. We just didn't score goals. So kind of regrouped after that, and I feel like we're starting to gain our stride now. For the course of the season, I mean, you're always dealing with some sort of adversity. Injuries happen in sports, and so roles are established within the group, and those roles are constantly evaluated and changing. And so I think we're finally at a point where we kind of know where we're at our best and starting to find our stride. So Friday night, the win at UNCW was a big win for us on the road. Last year, Steve, one of our successes was playing really well at home. We went undefeated at home up until the final. This year, it's kind of flipped. Now we're undefeated on the road. So we figured out how to be really good on the road. And I hope to continue that. I mean, we got our 2 opening conference games on the road Thursday. It's at Sanford, and then Sunday at Mercer. So hopefully we can continue that trend.
Well, your home schedule wasn't the easiest. I mean, taking on one of the top 5 teams in the country, and you were very impressive on the road with wins at NC State. So, but you have a lot of new players. I'm looking at the roster over here, and it's a fair number of freshmen, sophomores, and a couple of transfers. What do you think about your new folks?
The core of our team, like who we rely on a lot, are the returners. So those ladies have been through the battles and have a lot of experience. But in order to be successful, I mean, you have to be strong from top to bottom. And I thought last year a big part of our success was our depth within our group. So this year our depth is really good, but really young. And so, you kind of deal with that along the way. People learning and growing in games at the highest level of competition. So I like our group. I like our young players. I think they've gained experience over the past 9 games, and I think they're getting better as we go. But we really, if I'm being honest, I mean, our starting 11, most of those players are returners and people that have been in the battles. But we also sub quite a bit too. So those younger ones have been a big part of who we are. And like I said earlier, establishing those roles and figuring out who's best where has been kind of my challenge here over the past 9 games, but I feel like we're kind of in rhythm now and have an idea.
Well, you did have 6 young ladies out of 11 on the first team preseason Southern Conference role, so that did show experience.
Yeah.
Now, who's taken maybe the role? Who is your leader out there right now? I don't know if that's changed from last season or not, but of those returning players, who are your right now? I know you hate to say distinguish here between this, but yeah, like who is leading your program right now?
Yeah, that was my biggest question coming in, Steve, to this fall was last year. Becca Campbell, Kirsten Hahn, Maggie Lloyd. We're 3 of the best leaders that I've ever coached, and so I knew we had talent coming back, obviously. But that was my big question: is leadership. Like who's going to take the reins and kind of lead the group, because they were behind 3 really really strong leaders. But I think all the seniors, we have 6 of them that really stepped up and done well in that role. I think Mila is kind of the mother hen of the group. She kind of takes care of everybody and is that kind of person. I think Ava, Abby Wise, Isabella kind of lead by example. They don't say a whole lot at times, but their work rate and their intensity is how they lead. And then Leanne is really probably the one that if Leanne says something, the whole group is going to stop and listen. Leanne does not talk a lot, but when she says things, it's pretty powerful. So I don't think it's one of them. I think it's the whole group has done an unbelievable job in leading our team. And yeah, it's worked out. It's worked out really well. That was probably, as a coach, that was my biggest question mark coming into the season. And I think they've handled it extremely well.
Yeah, and Leanne doesn't like anyone coming near her home. That's for sure. That on that end of the field.
We don't either. I don't like anybody coming near her home.
That's right. Well, Coach, you open your defense of your regular season championship Thursday down in Birmingham against Sanford, which in my mind, and I probably too, you would think the same thing too, is WCU's #1 soccer rival right now. The team that your team beat in the Southern Conference championship game last season. Well, the team that beat you in the Southern Conference championship, and then the year before you handled them. Tough way to start regular season play against Sanford on the road.
Yeah, this is 4th or 5th year in a row that the SoCon scheduled us against them in the first game, which I hope that changes at some point. But a massive challenge, obviously. I mean, playing on the road is not easy. And then playing Sanford, who arguably has been kind of the team everybody's been chasing for a really long time. And we've kind of knocked them off a little bit the last couple of years, but they're still, one of the strongest teams in our conference with a great tradition. And it's going to take our best. It's going to take our best effort to go there and get a result in 2023. I really feel like that's what sparked the whole thing for us, Steve. We went there and we had never beaten Sanford on the road in Birmingham, and we got a lead early and hung on for dear life and won that game 1-0, and that propelled us to the run that we made and then ultimately beating them in the final. So I have a lot of respect for Todd Yelton at Sanford. He's one of my best friends in coaching, and it's a tall task, but we're excited about it. I think this is a game where you don't have to walk in the locker room and say too much. Like they know exactly what's happened the past 2 years with Sanford, and they know the challenge ahead, and I think they're excited about it. Our team has evolved into a team that runs towards challenges, doesn't run away from them. And that comes with winning games and a belief in yourself and a belief in the group. And it's just a championship mindset. So we challenge our players when we play at Tennessee, that's ranked second in the country, that comes here, and we play at NC State on the road. We don't run away from those challenges. We run towards them. We're excited about the opportunity because I think when you're playing at a high level and you put yourself in those positions, those are earned. Those moments are earned. And so that's our approach for Thursday. We're going to go in there and give it our best shot and see where it's at. No championship will be won on Thursday. But it will make your life a lot easier if you can get that result.
Well, I remember watching the championship game in Cullowhee last fall, and I really felt like we played well enough to win that game. The possession, the shot taking, and Leanne, you mentioned Trudell. She did an amazing job in goal for that game. So I think, are the ladies ready to avenge that? Are they thinking about that as they go down there, or what's the mindset on that?
I know I think about it every day. That was a really hard one for us. Like you said, I think we outplayed them and really deserved to get the result. We didn't. They had one shot on goal and they scored it, and I think we had 14. And so, the returners definitely know that. They definitely feel that. They definitely think about that. The young ones probably have no idea. They've been told those things, but until you're in that moment, you don't really understand it. So, like I said earlier, this is a game where I don't have to say a whole lot. They know what's on the line. They know the intensity of what's about to happen. And I think they're excited about it. I think they're excited to start conference and defend their regular season title.
So speaking of the young ones, and I know it was your turn, Steve, but I'm thinking about
no problem.
How do you evaluate and go after the ones coming in from high school and some of your transfers? So what's your process in figuring out bringing in new talent?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the number one thing that jumps out to you immediately when you recruit somebody is athletic ability. I could take my mom, I'm not going to say her age, she'll get mad at me. But I could take my mom and sit next to me on a field, and she could tell me who the fastest player on the field is. So that's what jumps out to you initially when you're watching a player is athletic ability. And then secondly, obviously you want to find the best soccer player you can find. That's how you win games, is by talented players. But more importantly than that, and what I think we built our program on, is just an unbelievable group of people. And so the hardest part for me is trying to figure out who that person's about. And when I go watch a game for 45 minutes, I can tell they're a good athlete. I can tell they're a really good player, but how much do I really know about them as a person? And so that's where visits and camps and things like that come into play, where you get to spend time with an individual and find out who they are as a person. We've had multiple ladies that we've seen on the road that we really loved as a player, and they got here on a visit or came for a camp, and we're like, nope, she doesn't fit who we are. Our team is very much built on a very blue collar mentality. Although we have 6 first team all conference players, and we have defensive player of the year, and we have player of the year on our roster, they don't act any different than anybody else. They'll go pick up water bottles. They'll go pick up balls. So that's really important to me. Like, the character traits and who they are as people is the most important thing. And so that's the hardest part of my job, but I think we get it right more times than we don't. But we just have a group of ladies that love playing the game, that love each other, and love to compete. And that's our DNA, and that's what's made us who we are. And it's a long-winded answer to your question, but the soccer part and the athletic part is a part of it. But the biggest part of it to me is the personal part of it and the people part of it.
That's right. Coach, I've always been impressed with the academic success of your teams. A 3.66 average last year, tops in the Southern Conference. Those numbers during my academic career, I didn't see anything quite, maybe the 0.66, but a bunch of all conference, all district academic team members. How does this academic motivation translate to the pitch?
I think it's just character traits. It's who they are. Our team is very, very competitive and wants to be the best in everything they do. I know it's kind of cliche to say, but it really is the makeup of the group. They pay attention to all the teams on our campus, what their GPAs are. They pay attention to community service hours. They really strive to try to be the best program at Western and in the Southern Conference. And it makes my job really, really enjoyable because I've surrounded myself with people that are very motivated and want to be successful. And so the academic part is probably the part that I'm most proud of, to be honest, because I know, I mean, I see day in and day out what they do and what they sacrifice, and getting home at 3 and 4 in the morning and going to class and doing what they got to do. I just have the utmost respect for them as students. And it's probably, like I said, probably the thing I'm the most proud of. Winning championships is great and awesome, but producing unbelievable people in our world and great moms and great workers is what I'm most proud of.
Well, kind of wrapping this thing up, stepping in a little bit personal. Your bride was a great soccer player herself. What does she think? Is she a tough critic on you, or what goes on post match?
Yeah, Stacy is. That's how we met. Actually, we were coaching in the same conference against one another, and that's how the whole relationship kind of. That's where we met and built from there. And then when we decided to get married, we really wanted to have a family, and we knew that two coaches is a great life, but a crazy life, and we knew we probably couldn't do that and raise a family the way we wanted to. So when I got the job to come back here as the head coach and we got married, she got out of coaching and kind of took her way into college athletics, and now she's taking her way to alumni engagement and all of that. But Stacy was an unbelievable player, an All-American in college, a way better player than I ever was. But she loves the game. She's very passionate about it. If you ever come to the game, you'll hear her over me. She's the loudest person in the stadium.
Yep.
Um,
I have watched her in the stands. I've
yeah,
watched her. She's
yeah.
very animated.
She's our team mom. I mean, she's very involved in our program, and it's just a great support for me. But she does. I mean, she tells me all the things that she doesn't agree with. She thinks that I did wrong. No, we watch film together a lot. We talk about game plans and how we're gonna approach the game. And now my youngest Carson, he's grown up at Western. I mean, he was born here in Silva, and he's watched I don't know how many games in his lifetime, but he's following in his mom's footsteps. Like he tells me what I do right and what I do wrong all
That's
the
great.
time. But it's a family affair. I mean, this program not only means everything to me, but it means everything to my family.
That's great. Well, it's been great having you on again, Coach. We appreciate it, and
Thanks.
I'm sure we'll see you again. Hopefully, you're going to have another great season, and we'll get a chance to talk later on the season and talk a little bit about some of the successes and where you want to go from there.
How
Thank
about the
you. Thank you all for
NCAA
what you do.
championship? Yes, that's it. That's where we want to go.
Yes. All right, guys, we appreciate it. That about wraps it up for this edition of Tracking the Cats. Bob Saban and Steve White saying so long on behalf of Stanberry Insurance, with offices in Silva, Waynesville, Highlands, and now the new office in Clyde. We'll see you all again in a couple of weeks.